Well, hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be propagating the Annabelle Hydrangea, and for the nursery person, small nursery person like me, and likely like many of you watching today, the Annabelle is super easy to propagate. It's really easy to grow. It overwinters in a pot really well, and best of all, they sell really well. So without further ado, we're going to dive in here and I'm going to show you how to propagate the Annabelle Hydrangea. Now, before we get to propagation, just a little bit about the Annabelle Hydrangea. It's native to the United States, and it is kind of the classic, the one you had in your grandma's yard with the giant white blooms on them. We're talking 10 to 12-inch white, giant snowball blooms on these Annabelles. They are hardy in zones, I think 3 through 9, so you're talking about a good chunk of the United States. The Annabelle is hardy in, and they're just a spectacular heirloom kind of plant. Like I said, been around forever. So propagating these guys is really easy. We're going to do it the same way that we propagate our other hydrangeas. Just a couple other things about the Annabelle. They've been around, like I said, for a long time, and they're white. And, you know, in recent years, recent decades, a lot of breeding has been going on with them, and this is where you get like the Incredible hydrangea from, and it's kind of an improved version of the Annabelle, kind of a stiffer stem on it to, you know, so they don't flop. And you got like the Invincible, and there's a whole series of those, and they've actually introduced color into them. So you've got some of these with some pink in them now. So, you know, really some spectacular cultivars are coming out of the Annabelle, and, you know, it's really a hydrangea that's progressed a lot, but there's always going to be room in your nursery for the original, the old-fashioned Annabelle. So let's get over here to the table and let's get to propagation. Now, if you guys have watched my hydrangea propagation videos before, this is much the same as those. I just want to show you that, you know, the Annabelle, it's a unique hydrangea, but it's just like the others. And that's the great thing about it, is all these hydrangea varieties, pretty much, we just kind of propagate them the same way. And I have a media here that I use, and it's heavy in peat, but it's basically like a peat and perlite and pine bark mixture. But, you know, there's 100 different ways you can kind of make your mixture for propagation. If you can't come up with anything else, guys, get you a bag of Miracle Grow potting soil, the one in the yellow bag, and you can use it just like this. You can use it straight into your plug trays. If you want to just do a few of these as a home gardener that you want to do for your own individual use, you know, you can do these in like your little solo bathroom cups. You don't have to have a plug tray, any kind of container at all. You can do a whole bunch of these in a dish pan, or, you know, in a big bowl or something with holes drilled in the bottom. You know, you always got to have drainage. But the main thing is, and I'm not going to belabor the point here on my exact mixture, but the main thing is it's got to hold a little bit of moisture, and it's got to drain really well. So we're just filling this tray up. This is a 50 count tray here. If you can see that, we're just filling it up. You don't have to do anything about this perfectly, but you want to just kind of fill the tray up. And I'm not really packing it down. I'm just kind of slightly tamping down any excess there. So for me, I'm left with something that looks just about like that as I get ready to start making my cuttings. Now we're going to get our Annabelle cuttings from Annabelle Cuttings. Now these are actually just ones that I stuck as hardwoods over winter, and they've grown out to this level, and I haven't done anything with them yet up to this point except let them grow, and I've just let them grow so I can take their cuttings. Now we have a nice Annabelle growing out here behind our nursery, and I've already taken all the cuttings and just whittled it down to nothing for the season. And I should have showed you that one, but I have a picture of one here that came from our yard before we moved, and the Annabelle's just been a part of our nursery ever since we started doing nursery. It was one of the very first plants we ever had, and we've just taken generation after generation now of cuttings from that same plant. So we have some Annabelle plants here. Let me pop one of these out and show it to you here. This is not very pretty. It doesn't really need to be pretty, but this is just a nice little Annabelle plug. This is I think it's a 32 or 38 count plug tray, but you can see that's kind of a nice size plug. But all I see on here are cuttings, and I see 1, 2, 3, there's at least 5 cuttings on this. And if I wanted to get real picky, I could even get these little bitty cuttings off of these small branches here. So mainly I'm going to focus on these thicker cuttings though, just because I have enough plant material to do it. But yes, even these little tiny ones will root just as well. But this is where I'm getting my cuttings from, is from small plants. So let's get some cuttings. So you can see the stem here. I just stuck it back in, and I'm going to just come in here right above a leaf node. So I'll just pull this back out, and this is the bottom leaf node, and you can see this entire stem is green. Now that green is what we call soft wood. As these age into the season, they'll start to turn brown, and you can see like right here up close where this is just starting to turn brown. Well, just in a matter of days, in a couple of weeks, that'll be solid brown. And once they're brown, you can't do them as softwood cuttings. So all the wood that we're going to work with today to do these is this greenwood or softwood. You do greenwood, softwood cuttings in the warm weather under mist, and you do the hardwood, dark wood, you do those in the winter. So today is about July the 20th, so we're going to do softwood cuttings, and we're going to put them under mist. Now here's the cutting that I just took, and what I do, real simple, is I take my pruners and I just cut right above that leaf node there. So there's your cutting, and just to reduce how much leaf matter you have there taking up tons of space in your tray, I just take it down to about that. So that's what each individual cutting is going to look like. So there's one cutting. You just move up your stem, and you just do that same thing over again. Cut the extra leaf off there, and you got you a couple of cuttings that look just about like that. And we'll just keep going right up that stem, and this particular stem, I believe, is going to give us 4, maybe 5 cuttings. And you know, you can experiment with that tip cutting out on the end like this, and yes, even one with a little bitty piece of stem like that will root. I'm not going to use this one, but you can. But especially if you don't have a lot of material to get cuttings from, even that little bitty stem right there, even that can be a cutting. So just be aware of that. All right, so the next step, real simple. I just took the water hose and soaked this tray just to settle all that down really well, and I went ahead and made my 50 cuttings. I probably made some extras, but it really doesn't matter. I wanted to show you a couple of these cuttings just to show you. I mentioned just a minute ago that, you know, even some of these really small cuttings will work. I want to just, here's an example. This is a really poor looking cutting. You know, it's only got one leaf sticking off. It's really skinny, it's short. This will totally root. It will absolutely root. So just don't be discouraged by only having a little bit of plant material. Something else that's worth mentioning is that you only need the node at the top. You do not need a node under. You don't need to bury a node. Now, I know that your grandma said you had to have it, and that you saw somebody else on the internet that said you had to have it. I'm just telling you guys, I do thousands of hydrangeas a year, and none of them have a node under the dirt. You just don't need it. So that even gives you more material to work with, and these will root at a very, very high rate. So all I do from this point is just take a pencil, and you can use whatever you got, but I take a pencil and just poke a hole right in the center of all 50 of these. Just kind of just waller it out a little bit, maybe where it's a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch in size. It just needs to be big enough to stick your cuttings in, and you know, it's pretty simple. So I'll just take my pencil and go through this whole tray. And while I'm doing this, I mentioned last week, you know, we started Nursery U, our mentoring Facebook group for aspiring nursery people. And if you guys had any questions about that, we're going to leave that open for 2 weeks and give you 2 weeks to join that. Just let you chew on it a little bit if you needed to. But if you have any questions about that, just put them down in the comments section below. And next week, on our next Saturday morning's video, we'll address those questions and see if we can help you out. Next Saturday will be the last day to join the group, at least for, you know, a few months or until we decide to open it back up again. So really good participation. I'm really happy about how it started, but if you have any questions, concerns, whatever, just leave them down in the comments below. All right, so I've got 49 and 50 holes. There's a big old chunk of something in there. 50 holes poked in here. Now all you do is take your cuttings, put them in the holes. So then you just take your cuttings one by one and stick them down in the holes there. Now, I showed you that you could use really, really short cuttings here for this, and you just have to be kind of careful with them. You want to leave a little bit of that sticking up above your soil line there. There's no exact amount. You could leave 1 inch sticking up. You can leave 1/8 of an inch sticking up. Here's that little pathetic looking one, but yep, we're going to use it. You just got to leave some of it sticking up so it won't rot. So that's really the main thing. So I'm going to just go through this tray, and I'm going to fill this in with all of these delicious looking cuttings, and I'll show you what this looks like, and then I'll show you the last step. All right guys, so I got all those cuttings stuck in this tray. So here's the great thing about this. This whole process takes about 15 minutes to do this, maybe 20 minutes to do this, and I've got a tray of 20 Annabelle hydrangea cuttings stuck here, and 45 or more of these will root. I mean, they're just super, super easy. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my water hose and just soak this down. I mean, I don't mean go crazy, just gently kind of soak it gently, and then I'm going to go take it and put it in my mist area where we do mist propagation. We've talked a lot about that. So, and then in no time, just a few weeks, these will start rooting really well. They'll start growing, and heading into fall, they'll be really well rooted. So that's how you propagate Annabelle hydrangeas. Then I just bring this and sit it under the mist, and I've kind of got this tunnel open right now just because I'm bringing hydrangeas in and out as I'm propagating today. But you know, I've got, I don't know, 700 or 800 hydrangeas right here that I've just put under here in the last day or two, and these will just stay under the mist for several days. And this is just an intermittent mist system here that just sprays on and off through the day to propagate these hydrangeas. We'll cover this back up and make a nice closed tunnel here. But guys, I just wanted to show y'all that hydrangea specifically. It's a really cool plant, and it's great to have some plants in your nursery that you propagate, that you grow, that you have very little, if any, money actually invested in. And you know, you can grow a ton of these things, and they're a really, really, really good selling plant. So wanted to show you the Annabelle today. Guys, thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.